Ladies and gentlemen, we are now 8 minutes, 20 seconds into the third hour. We have an hour and 50-plus minutes left in worldwide broadcast. A ton of vital news I'm going to be going over. The public is being dumbed down. We're being chemically drugged in the food and water and air. That's now on record. The Times of London reports children reaching age 3 without being able to say a word. Survey finds in massive numbers from television, from public school, from the preschools, from the vaccines. The UN is even lowering the official IQ level for average to below 100 to 95. Soon, in another generation or two, being able to tie your shoelaces will be a symbol of genius. Being able to speak will be a sign of genius. I'm not kidding when I say that. We're being turned into complete mindless animals. You try to talk to full-grown adults, they know nothing about the world. They can hardly speak. Their vocabularies are tiny. They're little jellyfish that watch television. Now, we still have masses of people that are awake and growing numbers of people that are hyper-awake. So, but you have a splitting of the wheat from the chaff, from the gold from the pewter. Here in this global situation we face, where either people are getting more awake or they're getting even more dumbed down. I'm going to get more into airport scanners going in nationwide, including Austin, Texas. I'm calling for a global boycott of the airlines, a strategic boycott. I would say in the next few days I'll announce dates and other information, but I would say coming up in about 2 months, so we have time to hype it. No one flying for a month. In business, talk to other businesses and say, let's do video conferencing instead. Let's let the airlines know we're not putting up with this. Let's call the Congress, tell them we know this is a boondoggle and a scam. That's coming up. I've got financial news coming up as well, the latest on the underwear bomber. But as promised, I want to open the phones up to first-time callers. I did this yesterday on the first live show of the year, the Sunday show. This is the first weekday show of the year. I want to do it again today about the genocide that Lord Monckton was just discussing. This is going on. Or the shutdown of our factories and our government's paying to move them to China, where they're dirty coal plants, actually increasing the devilish CO2, but actually putting out some real things like mercury and other particulates that are actually bad. We need to discuss this. We need to talk about this. Any issue you wish to discuss, any question, any comment you have for me, toll-free number to join us on air today, 1-800-259-9231, 1-800-259-9231 on this Monday, January 4th, 2010. Well, that's going to take some getting used to. Before we know it, it'll be 2011, then 2012. Nothing's going to happen in 2012, but a bunch of cults committing suicide and things, I'm sure, and maybe a few terror events. And I'm going to make a film about 2012. I'm going to start it later this year, and it'll be released in the middle of 2011, maybe earlier. I've just got so many things I've got to get going here, like daily news briefs I want to do, the television studio we're building. I've got so many other issues and goals I have to complete that I'm having to put films back because all of this is going on and happening. Filmmaking is the most time-intensive thing I do, next to 4 hours a day on the radio and several hours a day of preparation. But a lot going on in 2010. I want to hear your commitments for 2010 to fight tyranny, what you're committing to do in 2010, what you think the globalists are going to launch in 2010. 1-800-259-9231. And I've made a New Year's resolution to try to be, at least some days, a little more calm, to be more controlled and more focused, to try to cover more news and info. And some days would take more calls. You'll still get the rants and things, but that's really a product of me being undisciplined and doing so many hours of radio. When I get tired and angry and just sick of all this crud, I tend to blow up. And that certainly is important to get angry at a core level, but then to make that constructive and put it into solutions and action, because that's what we're about here, solutions and empowering the people to take action. That's why we're the #1 target of mainstream media demonization events, the ADL, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and, of course, COINTELPRO disinfo operatives trying to get us to all infight instead of focusing on defeating the New World Order. So we're going to open the phones up right now and take calls for most of the hour. Then I'm going to hit a few big stories towards the end, and then more calls, then more news as we go into the fourth and final hour today. That was certainly a bone-shattering interview against the New World Order with Lord Christopher Monckton. I believe that was the most powerful of the 5 interviews. That was the 5th interview we've done with Lord Monckton. Extremely powerful. And so you can certainly comment on that. I hope you take the video off prisonplanet.tv, burn it to DivX, and give it to everyone you know, because in that hour-long interview, probably 50 minutes of radio time, because I skipped one break and went 5 minutes into the third hour, it's about 50 minutes of airtime. Just we covered the gamut there, ladies and gentlemen.